Joe Biden with all of us. He sat down with all of our political panel. It's a team booking effort.
We went and grabbed him.
We grabbed him. We grabbed him. We hollered. We did whatever we can. So we're all going to jump in on this. But Vice President Biden, I just want to ask you how you felt it went tonight. Did you give the effort you wanted to do? Was this a do or die night?
Well, I don't think it's a do or die night. I really don't. I think, it's the first of four, and we're going to go into Super Tuesday as well. So I don't think it's a do or die night. But I thought, look, I'm an underdog here. And the fact is that I wanted to make sure that I got to talk about the things that I care about the families like mine that made that longest walk, the people I run into up here. I mean, literally all the time. People are in trouble. This idea the economy is good. Try it when you, in fact, are losing your job, or you have a job, you can't keep your house, you can't make things work for you. And so that's why I'm in this thing to begin with. And so it gave me an opportunity to talk about things I care about, from health care to middle-class issues.
So something we've been talking about up here tonight is how do the Democrats take on President Trump? You've got your nickname. A lot of folks on the stage have the nickname. You see the tweets, and the fight can be nasty. Do you get in the mud? Do you get in the dirt with him? Do you go low? They go high? What is the winning strategy in that?
The winning strategy is to go after him on the issues. Look. One of the reasons I decided I might not run this time was I knew it was going to be ugly for my family, and particularly my grandkids. This is the God's truth. We have a deal in our family, I've spoken about it before, that any child can ask for a family meeting. I mean, for real. It's genuine. And I got a call from my granddaughter, who's now a senior at Columbia Law School, and my two other granddaughters are now at Penn and freshmen and juniors, and my deceased son's two kids. They called on Wednesday and they said, can we meet on Sunday? And they came down from New York, Philly, and my son's children live near me. And they walked in and said, Pop, you got to run. And I said, guys, this is going to be not very nice, this whole thing. And they said, we know it won't, Pop. And their whole life, their father or their grandfather has been an attorney general, a senator, or a vice president. And my little guy who came up tonight, Hunter, he's now in 7th grade. Excuse me, in 8th grade.
We all need it.
Said, Pop, look, and he took out his cell phone. My word to this. And there was a picture of me walking out of my son's funeral, Bo's funeral, military funeral, my hand on a flag-draped casket with the military escorting him out. And I'm reaching down, I'm holding my little guy, and I used to hold my son under the chin like this, joke with him, look how tall you're getting. And I'm leaning down, and he shows me the picture, and the caption underneath said, Biden molests another child. Mm-hmm. They said, I didn't say Trump did that. What I'm saying is it's just going to be really mean. But when they decided that, they thought that, and I know it's going to be ugly. But look, the thing about Trump is that he has no sense of empathy. I think very little sense of decency and decorum of what constitutes being a decent person. And I acknowledge that, but what I got to talk about is what he's done to people in terms of the policies. His foreign policy is an absolute disaster. We are in terrible shape worldwide, number one. Number two, if he's elected again, I promise you, NATO will not exist as it does now. Our alliances in the Far East are going to change. And so there's so many things that I think I can just debate him on the merits, the place he doesn't know much about.
Mr. Vice President, you definitely turned it up a notch for this debate. I mean, you showed some punch, you showed some passion that I did not see in the earlier debates. But I was struck by something that you said at the very top of this debate. You said that you took a hit in Iowa, and you'll probably take a hit here in New Hampshire as well. I've never seen a candidate come into a debate essentially predicting his own defeat in the next electoral college. Why did you
because I think, look, I've been the front runner all along here. I've had that target on my back from the beginning. And the fact is, in New Hampshire, I'm an underdog because of the fact that, Bernie won this place by 20 points last time. The neighboring senators have gigantic influence. And so I think I'm an underdog. But I wanted to make the point, it didn't matter because I'm not going to walk away. Like I said, I've lost a lot of things before and in the past, but I'll be damned if I'm going to lose to this guy Trump, to lose the country to. And so when you say I came out, I decided that the attacks that are going on with me, I've basically not responded to the last whatever months. But this idea that, Bernie talking about, and he's a good guy, but Bernie talking about Biden has a lot of baggage. Baggage. Everybody, we have to win the Senate back. You think everybody, he labels himself a democratic socialist. This is going to be a field day for the president.
Why didn't you raise your hand when George asked if anybody was concerned about the idea of a democratic socialist?
Oh, I already made I made it clear I was concerned because I already spoken. I said I think it's going to be difficult. Look, I don't know that Bernie's he has great support, but I don't know he's been invited in to campaign for any of those frontline competitors that won last time. I went into 24 states with over 65 candidates. They all wanted me in. They're asking me to come in again. Most of the frontline candidates have come forward and supported me. So I didn't have to pile it on. But when, there's a lot of stuff going on like those fake videos that were put out about Biden on Social Security, which, has been just rated simply not true at all, and all the emails that go out. And so I didn't, he talks about a vote that I made 30 years ago and whatever it is. And, look, this is a guy, while I was beating my neck trying to make sure we passed the assault weapons ban, or before that, even the Brady bill, he voted against it 5 times. He also voted.
But look at his approval rating right now. It's higher than it's been. His approval rating is going up.
No, I agree, and I think it's because the fact that if I'm not looking to run a negative campaign, I'm running against Trump. But the fact is that when you say things that are going out there that are not true about others, and, about who has the record, who's carrying baggage, come on. This guy voted, and he's a good guy, but he voted to give gun manufacturers an exemption? How many people died in the streets and nothing was done about it because we're not able to go after the gun manufacturers like drug, tobacco, and the rest? It's carnage out there.
But, Mr. Vice President, you have also been sharpening your attacks against Mayor Pete Buttigieg. He has a lot of momentum right now, the other moderate in this race. How do you explain his rise?
Well, I think he's a very quality guy. I think he has a great organization. He, quite frankly, out-organized us in Iowa. But again, Pete keeps talking about everything was bad before, all the past was bad. Since when did the Democrats think Barack Obama didn't do a good job? You guys covered me. I had major responsibility in the Obama administration. The president would turn over responsibility and give me presidential authority to deal with it. But this idea, all these bad things, I don't know where he was living. I don't know where and it's not like we're returning to the past. We were just getting started. Everything landed on President Obama's desk but locusts. We got us out of the most serious recession, short of a depression in American history. We're finally getting things moving. We got hundreds of thousands of troops, combat troops, out of harm's way. We brought them home. We were moving. The economy was rising. Look, Trump inherited everything. He inherited a good economy with more consecutive months of growth and progress than anyone else has ever had in terms of just straight months. He inherited it. Now he's messing it up.
But could Buttigieg be another Obama? Because you went after Obama in that 2008 primary as not having the experience.
Well,
that's what you're saying.
To be a vice president.
Well, yes.
No, I'm joking.
but that's the argument you made against Obama. Now you're making the argument against Buttigieg.
No, because I don't know. At least Barack had a clear view of what his strategic notion was on foreign policy. He had a clear view of it.
You don't think Buttigieg does?
Well, I haven't heard it if he does. I don't know what it is yet, number one. Number two, I think, being a mayor of a town smaller than Manchester is not quite like being a United States Senator from the state of Illinois, even though it was only a short amount of time. And Barack's experience was much wider as well. So, but look, that old joke, I know Barack Obama. He's no Barack Obama. He's a rare breed, Barack Obama. He was an unusual person, and best thing I ever had happened was working with them.
One of the things that Tom Steyer said tonight was that we're 90 minutes into this debate and no one has talked about race yet. Do the people who were on that stage tonight, yourself included, accurately and fairly represent the people who will be voting for you in this election?
I represent them better than any person on that stage and all of them combined. I've been engaged in the civil rights movement. I've been engaged in the civil rights community. I've been engaged in the black community my entire career. That's what got me involved in politics to begin with. And even a lot of the younger reporters covering me initially were saying, well, then they went to Delaware and found out where it is. Look, the black community knows me and I know them. And I think we take it for granted much too much. The context of that was no one had asked the questions. We tend to answer the questions that were asked. It hadn't been asked yet. No one had mentioned it. And my biggest concern about the African-American community with the Democrats is most of us take them for granted. They just take it as good they're going to show up. They don't show up, but they know when you care about them. They know you. They know if you really mean it. And they know I mean it. And we'll soon find out.
And Mr. Vice President, we're going to let you go now here in a minute. But where would you place this debate in the other debates you've been in? Best? Second best? Do anything over? I'm not a pundit. I don't know. All I know is I was able to say what I wanted to say, and I'm going to continue to speak out on the things I care about. For example, on health care. I think the one thing the American people are entitled to is authenticity. You got to tell the truth. The idea you're going to pass a multi-trillion-dollar bill and say you don't know how much it's going to cost eventually and who's going to pay for it, it's bizarre. And by the way, you don't have the votes for it now, even if you knew exactly how much it would cost in the Senate. Or the fact you're going to go out and say, I got a wealth tax that's going to take care of everything, of about $60 trillion worth of cost for the next 10 years, paying off all student loans. The American people and I think will get killed by Trump if you come off to something that's not even remotely authentic and able to be done. Okay, thanks very much for joining us, Mr. Vice President. We appreciate John's running and our yelling. Appreciate it.
It's late.
Best of luck.
It's late.
Thank
We
you.
appreciate you sticking around.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.